Hi, my name's Billy, I read books and I use Goodreads to catalogue and sort and keep track of all the books I want to read, pretty much like you may very well do as well. So in this video, I'm going to go through the 10 highest rated books I have on my Goodreads TBR to be read list. Now there's a couple of caveats with this. The first one being it's going to be one book per author. The second one is got to be more than 10,000 ratings on Goodreads. And the third caveat on this is that it's not up to date. Quite a lot of the books you see on my shelf there probably aren't added on my Goodreads list either. Now I could have gone and sorted all this out beforehand, but it falls down to the reason that I couldn't be arsed. So we're going with what we've got and we're starting at number 10 and working our way up. So number 10 is A Time of Dread by John Gwynne. This is book 1 in the Blood and Bone series. It's got an average rating of 4.3 out of 10,648 ratings. I read the Faithful and the Fallen series a good few years ago and liked it. Didn't think it was as brilliant as everyone else seems to make out. I think I gave each book at least 4 out of 5, so good. But this series doesn't seem anywhere near as popular. Lots of people don't seem to have kicked on and read this. Now I have this lined up to start reasonably soon. I'm torn between starting this and another couple of different series in the next month or so, but it's a trilogy, it's highly rated, it's John Gwynne, no wonder it's good. At number 9 is a book that was recommended to me by a viewer to this channel on one of my videos where I was asking for recommendations in relation to certain types of books, or maybe it was to do with when I was looking for a palate cleanser, something just to help me get through, something different. And this is Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. Now I have to say, I had not heard of this book, I had not heard of this author before this recommendation, but it's a small little book. It's book number 1 in the Immortals series. It's got an average rating of 4.31 out of 79,965 ratings. Now that is a good rating. And as you can see, it's big text, lots of spaces and gaps at the top and bottom of the page as well. So this book, I should be able to fly through. I've got to be honest, that cover does not fill me with confidence, but you can't judge a book by its cover. So that's on my TBR for as and when I need a quick palate cleanser, maybe if I'm in a bit of a reading slump. Number 8 is Rage of Dragons, book number 1 in the Burning series by Evan Winter. Average rating of 4.31 from 33,000 ratings. Now, this one was doing the rounds on BookTube a good few years ago. I know book number 2 is out, but there's no sign of book number 3 that I'm aware of. I think this is a trilogy as well, so I'm hanging off starting this until I know that final book is on its way, because I don't want to read 2 books and then the final one doesn't come out. Don't know what's going on with it. If anyone can let me know, if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. Number 7 is one I had not heard of. It's called Superpowered, and this is year 1, book number 1 in the Superpowered series by Drew Hayes. Average rating of 4.36 from 11,600 ratings. Now, I came across this when I was in the midst of reading The Wandering Inn by Pirate Harbour, and I was like, wow, progression fantasy, this is really good. What other type of progression fantasy stuff is out there? And this and some other series that we will talk about in a follow-up video to this one I will do came up on the list. So Drew Hayes has written quite a few books. I know nothing about him, I know nothing about these books, but if it's progression fantasy and it's in the similar ilk to The Wandering Inn, then I'm all for it. At number 6 is Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. Average rating of 4.39 from 35,000 reviews. This again has been doing the rounds on BookTube recently. I hadn't heard of him up until this point, up until mainly Mike's book reviews started talking about him with Boy's Life, which is this one. Swan Song, is that the other? And then there's the series, a historical fiction series. I can't remember the name of that. But this guy seems to be a very, very good author. Everyone I see who reads one of his books raves about it. This one I believe is like a slice of life type story, which puts me off a little bit because the Stephen King books I've read where he does slice of life, I tend to enjoy his books up until we have the slice of life stuff. So not that I don't enjoy it, it's just in some of King's books it just goes on a bit too long with the slice of life for me. So I'm a little bit hesitant to start this. You know, it's like I believe this is like you know, following these kids as they're growing up, slice of life. I'm just a bit worried. I just don't know if it's going to be for me. But I keep on looking at those ratings, hearing everyone rave about it. I'm going to have to give it a go at some point. At 5 is a book, and that's doing the rounds again currently. I believe there's a TV adaptation of it that's pretty good as well. And this is Shogun, book number 1 in the Asian saga, written by James Clavell. Average rating of 4.41 from 180,000 reviews. Now this is a 6-book series as well. So this is historical fiction, I believe, and I don't know if I'm in the mood for a 6-book historical fiction series right now. Excuse me one moment. Summer, stop snoring. Stop snoring, please. She's not going to listen to me. Yeah, I don't know if I'm in the mood for a 6-book historical fiction series right now. But again, I hear nothing but good things about this. I think it's a pretty big book as well. I think all the books are a really big size as well. And when you're doing a fantasy and science fiction channel like this, I don't know how I can squeeze that in, which is a shame because I have read some really good historical fiction series prior to starting this channel. At number 4 is Bloodsong, book number 1 in the Raven Shadow series by Anthony Ryan. Average rating of 4.42, 85,000 reviews. Now, again, I hear great things about this book, but I don't hear great things about the final 2 books in the series. Now, so I'm tempted to, if as and when I get to this one, just treat it as a standalone, just a one and done, read it, don't bother with the next 2. However, when it's a trilogy and you read the first book, I like to complete series if I can. If I like the first book as well, then I will always give the second book a go. And then you've only got one to go then, haven't you? So why not give that a go as well and finish the series? I'll have to decide what to do with that. Make my mind up beforehand, and if it's a case of it's a one and done, just do that, and that will no doubt bump that up my TBR list to get it read sooner rather than later. Into the top 3 on my list, and we have Dark Age by Pierce Brown. This is book number 5 in the Red Rising saga, and look at the size of that boy. That's the size of the text as well. It's a big old book. It's got an average rating of 4.47 from 62,000 reviews. Now, I've read the first 3, and a bit like with Blood and Bone, where I've read The Faithful and the Fallen, and then I've not really followed on with the next, not so much the next books in the series because it's a separate series. I believe that, you know, Dark Age is part of like a different part of Red Rising. You have the initial trilogy, and then we've got these next 4 books that are out now. And for some reason I've not carried it on. And I don't hear a lot of people carry on with Red Rising after the first 3. And I don't know why that's the case with me. I mean, I know I wanted to wait until I knew this follow-up set of books was going to be completed, and they are going to be done soon. They're well on the way to being done, if not already done by now. So I don't know why I've not got to it, because I enjoyed the initial Red Rising series. From memory, book 1 was just a bit weird. Book 2 was the fastest paced, craziest book I think I've read. And then book 3 eased off a little bit and was the best of the 3 in my opinion. So I don't know why I've not carried on with it. I need to, I just never get to it. Moving on to book 2, we've got The Trouble with Peace, which is book number 2 in the Age of Madness series by Joe Abercrombie. Average rating of 4.6 from 31,000 reviews. I love Joe Abercrombie's books. I read the initial First Law trilogy, really enjoyed that. just straight away, I was just drawn into the world and the characters. Even though at the time I didn't know what the plot was, I didn't really know who was who or what was going on. You could just feel like there was just going to be uncontrolled, spontaneous violence, like murderous violence, about to erupt at any time. Just when you were sat around a campfire with some of these characters, you could just feel it dripping out the pages. I've read his standalone trilogy, if that's what you want to call it, and I really enjoyed the heroes out of that. And this is his next. The Age of Madness is the final trilogy in his First Law world, and I think that might be the reason why I've not got to it, because I just don't want that to end. I don't want to run out of his books, so that's probably why I'm putting it off. But that's a bad habit of mine, of putting off really good books I want to read. So I like to know they're there to read if I want to. Sometimes it's weird, isn't it? It really is weird. But yeah, need to get to him. And that brings us on to number 1, which is, I mean, if this was a case of I wasn't doing one book per author, then this guy would probably dominate my entire top 10. But it's Brandon Sanderson, and it's Word of Radiance. Now, I've got the paperback volume because the book is that big, it has to be split into 2. But Words of Radiance, book number 2 in Stormlight Archive. I haven't started Stormlight Archive yet. I have it on my shelf here, the first 3. 1? See, yes, I can count. That's the first 3 books. I don't think I have the 4th, and the 5th one is due to come out soon. But Words of Radiance has an average rating of 4.76 with 351,000 reviews on Goodreads. Now, why have I not started that? It's at the top of my TBR list currently. Why have I not started it? Well, it's because it's so flipping big, and I don't read particularly quickly. So getting through, I mean, this is obviously the second book, but getting through that as 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, just take me forever. It'd take me forever, and wouldn't be brilliant for this channel, where it would be, I've read 1 book this month, let me tell you about it. And then next month, it's like, oh, I've read another 1 book this month, let me tell you about it. Won't be particularly great. So I think as and when I have a period of spare time, maybe if I have a 2-week holiday somewhere, maybe that will be the time to pick up the Stormlight Archive. But anyway, that's my top 10 books on my TBR within that category we've spoken about. I'm sorry about the disruption of my dog snoring. It can't be helped. She will now be behind the door in the kitchen there, sulking. I'm surprised we can't hear a pause behind the door. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on that list. Let me know if you read any of those books and if you enjoyed them, and I will talk to you in the comments below and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Pinto. For God's sake. Summer! Son! You're gonna have to go through there. You're not snoring like this. Come on, come through. You're not snoring like this. You're not snoring like this. Come on. Go through. Go on. Go through. There you go, good girl. Right, you stay there. On your bed. You go on your bed, good girl. Good girl, go on your bed. I'm sorry, good girl, bye. Oh, for God's sake. Number 8 is The Burning. I've forgotten these 4 things. Oh, I've done that. Fuck me. Wild magic.